This Albion Online video is about all of the mistakes that new players make, and by watching this video, you as a new player won't make these mistakes, and it will put you massively ahead of other players, but also it will protect your character from being bricked. What does that mean? A bricked character is someone that has fallen so far behind or made such wrong decisions that they are better off starting over than continuing. Let's get into it. So number one is wasting your learning points on combat abilities, levels, mastery, and specialization. This is absolutely something that new players will do, not knowing just how valuable learning points are. Learning points, when you open your Destiny board, it is this number right here in the top. This number right here, it says 3,100 for me, because that's how many I have. But essentially, what a new player will do is they're going to start the game with about 105 of these or so. And when they have 3 days of premium, they will eventually get to 190. And if they play every day, they'll get 10 a day, right? So what they do is they're just going to turn this on because it gives them 5 times the experience points. In this game, experience points are called fame towards everything. So you can see right now, I actually have it all turned off by default. But if you click this button as a new player, it's going to light up your entire board, all right? And so what happens is, let's say you put on a bow and you go kill some mobs with a bow. It's going to give you 5 times the amount of fame towards your bow, towards the specialization of the bow. It's also going to do it for every piece of armor and equipment that you have. And you don't want to do that, and the reason why you don't want to do that is because it spends a lot of learning points on something that is easy to level. The easiest thing in Albion Online to level is your combat abilities. Yes, it takes time, and once you have a good set, you can knock out levels insanely fast. As an experienced player, I can level up a weapon specialization from 0 to 100 in under 2 hours without premium. And with premium, an hour and a half, or even faster. It is absolutely vital that you never use learning points leveling your combat abilities, ever. And the reason why is that new players who do not card swipe or have friends to give them money, most of the time they are content locked because they don't have silver, and so they should be spending their learning points on teching up in the gathering professions, because the faster that you unlock a higher tier gathering profession, the faster that you can gather. The difference in silver being earned from a new player to an experienced player with just tier 8 gathering. A new player can expect to farm around 250,000 silver per hour with gathering, and an experienced player can farm over 1 million silver an hour. So that is 4 times the difference. And if you spend your learning points on combat, you won't have any to level up your gathering. And it's going to take so long to hit tier 8 gathering. It can take months if you are playing casually. So mistake number one, the most important one. Most YouTubers put this at the end of the video. I'm putting it at the start because I really care about you guys. And that is, do not waste your learning points. On to the next one. Number 2 is wasting your 3 days of premium. As a new player, you have a journal quest, and that is called sell items worth 50,000 silver to the marketplace. You will receive this 3 days of premium little crown on a pillow. And what a lot of players do is they will just use this immediately, and that starts a 3-day timer. During that 3-day timer, you have premium active, and for those that don't know, premium is essentially a massive boost to everything you do, just about. You get 50% bonus fame, you get double crop yield, you get 50% increased gathering yield, which also means that you level up gathering faster because you're gathering more of it. That's how gathering works. So new players should really focus on gathering during those 3 days, but I see so many people, what they will do is they will turn on their 3 days of premium and then they will go to bed. And it's like, bro, you could have just woke up and then used it and then played all day with that premium. You just wasted, 5 to 8 hours, however much you sleep, of premium just there. Or they'll use 3 days of premium and then they have to work the next 3 days or go to school, or they have a family function, or they're busy studying or doing something, right? You only want to use this 3 days of premium whenever you have free time to do so. So you can sit there and have it in your inventory, in your bank, until you've got some time, some free time to do it. You can also build up your character a little bit more so that you have faster kill speed, you have a little bit faster gather speed, and then you can pop it, and then you are making the most out of your time. Also, some people, what they'll do is they just won't use it at all, and they will save it for months and months and months, and it's like, no. The earlier you use it, the better, but you should use it early on whenever you have lots of free time to utilize it the most. Don't just wait and use it, 2 months down the line. There's almost no reason for that. So number 3 is not using optimal gear for whatever activity it is you are doing. I will see many people that still have traditional values when it comes to leveling up in MMORPGs. In most games, if you want to be a better swordsman, you have to equip a sword and go fight things with your sword, and that will increase your sword skills. While that is true in Albion, you don't have to do that. You can earn what is called combat fame credits. You see I have 233 million here. So if I go to a random weapon line, like let's say the Ironclad Staff, it's level 22, I can boost this to level 100 and pay 16 million combat fame credits. Now, in order to earn these combat fame credits, I just have to kill things with a set of gear that is already technically level 100 in mastery and or specialization. So, what I see people doing all the time is, especially on like Twitch streams of new players, YouTube videos of new players, and just out in general in the game world, they will be out there in the world fame farming, killing mobs with a very unoptimal set. So I want to share with you an example of such things. I'm in full plate armor with a highly defensive shield and a mace. Now, this mace it's a tanking weapon. Yes, you can kill mobs with it. It deals damage, sure. This armor gives you a defensive bubble to increase your healing received and damage resistance. This helmet gives me like a Spider-Man web shooting thing that lets me zip around the battlefield. It deals a bit of damage. These boots let me run away faster if I'm wounded. All right, they're all plate. They don't give me any kind of damage bonus. I also have a cape so that if I get crowd controlled, I can move one time without being stuck. All right? And now what I want to show you is we have some target dummies here. And I'm going to just go all out and try to deal as much damage as possible, as quick as possible. So I'm going to jump into the mobs, hit them with everything I've got, and I'm sitting here smashing into them. So I just broke 1,000 damage. All right, that was all my abilities. I just broke 1,300 damage. I'm sitting here, I'm auto-attacking, I'm swinging. All right, now most mobs have around 2,000 to 3,000 HP, depending on what zone you're in. So right now, I still wouldn't have killed one mob yet. All right, so now that mob's dead. Boom. All right, so that's how long that took. All right, and that took quite a bit of time. Also, the mount, it's a tanky mount. It's a big old bear. It's slow. It does not move very fast, but it can take a lot of hits. Not that you really need to, all right? And I'll talk about this. And now, in the same example, we have some gear that is all cloth, and in Albion Online, when you wear cloth, you deal more damage and you receive more damage. If you wear leather, you get a little bit of a damage boost and a little bit of a defensive boost, all right? But because we are doing PvE, we are doing a player versus environment activity, we do not need to care about defense. We just need to kill the enemy as fast as possible to min-max our fame per hour earnings, all right? So I have a cloth helmet that shoots a laser beam that deals a ton of damage, a cloth armor that shoots a ring of fire that deals a lot of damage, a boot that increases the damage that I deal while it's active. I have an offhand that increases the damage I receive, but also gives me a ton of bonus damage, and a one-handed weapon that has a very large area of effect explosion on all of its abilities, okay? And I can shoot it in rapid succession, and a cape that shoots a lightning bolt that hits 4 enemies every 15 seconds. I also have a mount that when I run through mobs, it does not slow down, and it is pretty fast. It's also mildly tanky, so it doesn't die to mobs. So again, this is an ideal, not the most ideal, but just a random ideal fame farming set. So let's see how long it takes to deal 3,000 damage to the target dummy, all right? Are you ready? We're gonna boots in. We're gonna armor. I actually missed. We got a laser beam. We shot the wrong target there, but look at that. Boom. We already hit 4,700, and I didn't even do it correctly. I split the damage between enemies. So can you see just how much faster this character would be able to kill mobs compared to the other character? I'll even run the test again without my armor abilities, okay? We're just gonna We're just going to E, Q, W, and auto attack, Q, Q. Look at that, 3,000, 3,000. We hit multiple targets with 3,000 damage within seconds. All right, and so when I see people out in the world and they're bashing things with a tank set to level up their tank weapon, they are not being optimal. They're technically playing the game wrong. I understand they're a new player. They don't know any better, but here's the tank set. Once again, look how crappy the damage is. It's not a lot. All right, we actually have, no, we swapped the cape, so we just did 1,000, okay? We can pop these defenses. We don't need defensive abilities. We don't need them. The mobs don't really hurt us that bad, even in full cloth, all right? And so, again, you can see there is a massive speed difference, but you're going to see this all the time. You're going to be out in the open world, and you're going to see people in plate armor by themselves, not tanking anybody or anything, and leveling with a tank weapon. I was just on Twitch yesterday and saw a guy that was leveling with forge hammers, and it's like, he's killing things so slowly, and he eventually got ganked and murdered and lost all his stuff, and then he raged out and quit his stream. And it's like, I want to reach out and help these people. I want to reach out and just help them play the game better so that they have a more fun and enjoyable experience, but what can you do other than post a video and hope they watch it? There's really not a lot you can do. Now, you can also reverse the roles. Let's say you're tanking for a party, or in PvP, PvE, doesn't matter. You're in a dungeon, and everyone relies on you to hold aggro and not take damage. If you're in full cloth, and you try to tank, the enemies are just going to deal tons of damage to you, and it's going to be really hard for your healer to keep you alive. There's so many problems with it, all right? But now, also another thing, too, is in the instance of gathering. I see this all the time. People in the open world, and they are gathering without gathering gear. So I'm going to show you what that is like, all right? So I have a couple of these animals here. We're just going to blow them up real quick and then gather them, all right? So that's 1, that's 2, and I would like to get a few more just to show you. But right now we have 21 hide. All right, so here's number 3. Go ahead and gather that, and this will be number 4. Now, you'll notice I'm killing this pretty quick because they're low-level mobs. But there we go. We have gathered 4 mobs, and we earned 39 rugged hide, all right? So keep that number in mind. 39 rugged hide without gathering gear. Also keep in mind I'm using a mount with no carry weight, so I wouldn't be able to carry very many hides to begin with at all. So what does optimal gathering gear look like? Well, you have the gathering helmet, the gathering chest piece, boots, pork pie as a food. You have a weapon and an offhand that deals incredible high burst damage so you can kill mobs quickly if you get aggro. You have a backpack that is based on what you will be primarily harvesting to lower the carry weight. A really hefty bag, an invisible potion to thwart gankers, and a mount with lots of carry weight that applies if you have the mount summoned or not. Now, if you have an ox, you get a lot of carry weight from an ox, but if you walk outside of the summoning circle, you lose that carry weight and you're a sitting duck. Whereas with a boar mount, like shown here, if I unsummon the boar, I can still walk around and I don't lose the carry weight buff. So I'm going to eat this pork pie, which is going to give me a gathering yield bonus. And because I'm in a safe zone, this Avalonian skinning knife will give me a yield bonus, which we used in the previous example because that's the only knife I have. But we'll kill the same amount of mobs and see how much more hide that I will be getting, all right? So that's 2 mobs, and I just need to kill 2 more. Here they are. Just go ahead and pull them to the center, and yeah, I'm not using my gathering ability here, but you'll see that the hides we got instead are 78, which is nearly double, or possibly more than double. So you can see just how more efficient you are with gathering gear versus without. But not only that, as I gathered, I brought along what's called a journal, and by filling this journal, that will give me even more resources. So you can see that I have 297 out of 450 fame, and whenever these things fill up, you get a sizable amount of resource return with a laborer. Now, a new player will not have islands and laborers, but it is something that they will eventually want to have. But when I was a new player, no one ever told me about this. No one ever talked about this on Reddit or in the general chat or anywhere in a Discord. I had to just learn this, you know, by reading wiki articles and watching videos. But with a filled journal, I can give this to this laborer, and he's going to give me back 57 rugged hide. All right, and so that's just free hide that I would be getting 21 hours later, and then I would receive the empty book back again so that I can refill it. And this thing does not steal your fame. It just takes however much fame you generate from gathering and then adds it to this book. And 57 Rugged Hide is worth 4,300 silver, which, as an established player, isn't a whole lot, but when you fill hundreds of journals a day, it adds up massively. And it's more profit for something you're already doing, and it doesn't really cost anything to do, so there's no reason not to do it. Also, regarding optimizing your gear for safe zones, anything over 1,200 item power, yeah, it helps you deal slightly more damage and give you slightly faster clear time and survivability, but the cost is not worth it. For instance, I have this 4.3 Wildfire Staff that gives 1,387 item power, and I also have this 8.4 Flamewalker Staff that's awakened that gives me 2,125 item power. But when I am in a safe zone, the item power difference is so negligible that you can barely notice that this will outperform the other weapon in a safe zone. So you do not need to get the best possible freaking gear in the game. You just need to make sure that your item power is at least or slightly above 1,200. But at the same time, I see a lot of new players when I check their stats page, and they have plenty of money and fame, and they've been playing the game a long time. They're running around safe zones using 4.1 gear, like this Blight Staff, 958 item power. I could be doing tremendously more healing and damage if this number showed 1,200. Whereas if this number, like I said, showed 2,100, I would be doing a marginal amount more over the item. So, again, you want to hit that threshold of 1,200 item power when doing safe zone content. And when it comes to not safe zone content, this is going to take a lot of practice, experience, and testing. But for example, when I go to a full loot zone where my item power is not capped, this 5.1 Great Axe that's only 1,258 item power can kill mobs in 1 to 2 rotations, whereas a tier 8 version of that axe, which costs significantly more, kills maybe 1 to 2 seconds faster. And for me, the cost of that tier 8 item versus the 5.1, because it's a full loot zone, is not worth the risk. So you just kind of have to finagle with gear and find out like what's a really good medium for cost efficiency and clear speed efficiency. So the TLDR is for PvE. Use all cloth and a big AoE attack weapon spells with low cooldowns. For PvE and PvP zones, you want to use a cheap but efficient fast clearing gear set. Find a good medium between the cost and how fast you can kill the mobs. And for gathering, you want to just use gathering gear with journals, and that way you earn more yield, you level up faster, and you earn more silver, which is the entire point of gathering in the first place. Number 4 is gambling or risking gear without backup. So if you are a new player, you should always have a gathering safe zone farming set and a safe zone fame farming set. And then once you have some silver built up, and if you aren't the investy type, if you aren't the type to put your money into making more money, and that's a big thing in Albion, is investing your silver so that it works for you, then a lot of people, they go out and they do full loot PvP, but what they end up doing is they don't keep a safety emergency set in a stash, and when they die, unfortunately, and lose all of their silver and gear, they are now naked with no mount, no gathering gear, and a lot of people quit at this stage. So the way to prevent this from happening is just have a few items stashed away, and make sure that if you are risking a gear set or doing something that would be considered gambling, like flipping on the market or investing into something that may or may not pay off later, that you still have plenty of money saved up that you can spend on, getting another gear set. You don't want to ever all in on this game because the odds are generally against you. Even if you were to win a bunch of PvP fights, the game's trash and loot rates are so adjusted to the point where you need something like an 80% win rate against fair fights to even profit in the first place. This game is designed to drain you of your in-game resource money so that you card swipe and buy back into playing it. Only the very smart, very diligent, or very stubborn end up, making silver without needing to card swipe. The entire game is against you in this, and so if you don't have a safety backup set or safety backup funds, you can essentially set your character back so much that your progress will be you naked running around zones, picking up rough stones and selling them on the market to get a mule, and then doing that until you can get a tier 2 gathering tool and starting all over again. Number 5 is not stacking premium rewards. There are a lot of players that don't realize how this works. Essentially, when you activate the 7 days or 30 days premium, you have access to all of these different rewards. For instance, if I go to Adventurer's Challenge, and if I had premium active, I don't because I'm a veteran player and I don't need any of this stuff. But if I did have premium active, I can claim this Spectral Direboar mount as a reward worth 1.75 million silver, and these chests when they unlock. Now, you can still technically unlock the ability to get these chests without premium, but you cannot claim them without premium. Same goes for the Conqueror Challenge. You see how it says get premium here? Like, I have this unlocked, but without premium, I cannot claim this. And same with the Faction Warfare chests as well. But what people will do is they will buy premium at the start of a month or something, and then they will get the rewards, and then the next month rolls around, and I'll show you what this looks like with the Adventurer's Challenge. So, like, this month is the Direboar, and then we'll go for next month. Right now, I'm filming this in July, so that would be August. All right? And so, if I get premium up, if I did my premium, like, say, on July 1st, okay? Well, my premium will run out on August 1st. That means I have 1 day to try to grind out to get this Divine Owl, and I won't be able to get weeks 2, 3, and 4's chest because they will be progress locked until a later date. You see how this unlocks on the 15th and this unlocks on the 22nd? So what you want to do, and premium is 30 days, so you really have to do a little bit of math. You want to renew or buy premium whenever you can claim all of the current month's chest rewards and have it last long enough so that when the next month rolls around and your premium is about to end, you can claim next month's rewards as well. And to build on this, you also want to usually have your premiums active around the time of major real-life holidays or Albion holidays. For instance, in July 17th is Albion's anniversary, and they always run special events with bonus fame farming, cakes, and extra dungeons and statues in the open world that give a ton of fame and rewards. And so you generally want premium active during these events to really maximize efficiency. And there's a lot of different dates. I have a video on this. For more information on this topic, I have a video specifically about this. It's called Albion Online 7 Days Premium Breaks the Game, How to Min-Max and Double Dip Rewards. It's uploaded 1 year ago as of recording. This is what the thumbnail looks like, and this is an amazingly juicy, good video. It will teach you how you can double dip on the rewards. It also talks about 7 days premium versus 30 days premium. But one of the more important things, it has like text on the screen that explains a lot of things, which I have the quality down for some reason. But essentially, these are the best times to buy the 7-day premium here. All right, there's some honorable mentions. You'll have to look at the video if you want more info. And buying with silver method, like this shows you about how much you would spend in gold, how much it would cost in silver as of 1 year ago. So these numbers are going to be a little different. You'll have to do the math. But you can also see that the earnings, like how if you bought 3 months in October through January, the 1 month from March through April, and 1 month from June through July, that you would spend this amount of gold or this amount of silver, and this is what you would earn. And this is about estimating what you would earn with all of the faction rewards and stuff. So the math is already done. If you really, really, really want to min-max your premium, that video is all you need. So number 6 is not faction flagging for safe zone content. I see so many people are running around the world not faction flagged, but they're farming, they're gathering, they're killing mobs, and they're doing safe zone content. There is almost no downside to faction flagging in safe zones, all right? So for those that don't know, to faction flag, you open the map, you'll see your faction enlistment officer. It'll be like the colored flag of the town. Like, this is Bridge Watches. If I go over to Martlock, theirs is also right here, faction enlistment. Just look for the colored flag of the town, and you just talk to them, and then you click flag up, and there you go. Now, I don't have any gear on, so I wouldn't earn any points, but this puts a flag next to your name, and what this does is for every zone you're away from town, you earn a 5% bonus to fame, silver, and loot drops, up to 15%, assuming that your faction isn't doing horrible in the faction war. So if I open my map, and let me move this down, if I open my map and click this and click faction warfare, you'll see Bridgewatch has control over all of these orange little areas, and Martlock has control over these blue ones, with Thetford being purple and Limhurst being green, Fort Sterling being white. All right, and in the middle here is either Caerleon or neutral. All right, so essentially, well, yeah, it's being taken over right now. Okay, cool. But essentially, as long as your faction isn't completely taken over, you will get this bonus, regardless if you're in enemy territory. So because, for instance, if Bridgewatch was to go all the way to Martlock and make all of this orange, they would not get a bonus until they start recapping their land, okay? But at the same time, besides just the 15% bonus to fame and silver and loot drops, you also are automatically on a team with everyone else that's faction flagged, which means you can't attack them, they can't attack you. Even in PvP zones with like an open chest or a mob camp where normally everyone's doing a free-for-all, like right now, this character right here, he is faction flagged, so we're on a team. And this guy is rocking 8.4 Shadow Collar. He's got some really juicy gear, high spec. I definitely want this guy on my team. Now, we don't share fame because we're not in a party. We are simply on a team, all right? And you may be thinking, but what about the other factions? Can't they beat me up? And the answer is yes, they can. However, it's different. So normally, if you are not faction flagged, and to unflag, you just click the little button to the right of your portrait, and that will take it off. It's no hassle. It's no punishment. There's no bad things for picking a faction. You can switch factions whenever you want. And so, if you are in a yellow zone and you are not faction flagged and someone is PvP flagged, when they attack and down you, you take a repair bill and you can't play for 90 seconds. It used to be 3 minutes, but they nerfed it this last patch. But 90 seconds, you cannot play. Like, this guy's PvP flagged right now, so if he beat me up in a yellow zone, I can't play for 90 seconds. But if I am faction flagged in a safe zone, he cannot attack me, regardless if he is PvP flagged up, because when you are participating in faction warfare, you are not participating in safe zone PvP. So it saves you from these griefers, for one. But secondly, if a enemy faction player attacks you and downs you, then you don't wait 90 seconds. You get down for like 5 or 10 seconds, and then you would respawn at any of these nearby faction outposts. And let's say I'm like over here in Carnes Hill, which is controlled by Martlock, and I get downed. It's going to teleport me to the nearest area that is being controlled by Bridgewatch. So I would in 10 seconds, I would go from here to here and pop up at this outpost with a repair bench ready to go back to farming, okay? But the most important thing, besides all of these bonuses and protections, is that when you are farming, gathering, killing mobs, and doing just about anything while faction flagged, you earn faction points. And faction points have a little shop. You can buy these beast hearts, which you can sell for silver. These are worth 41,000 each. But more importantly, you can buy these campaign chests, and they're worth 9,000 each. And these, on average, give you about 60,000 silver and 250,000 fame in fame tomes. And so what does that look like? Well, I have a whole bunch stashed away just from casually, earning these faction points. And you earn quite a bit of faction points too, right? So here's like 70 tomes worth 200,000 fame each, all right? To put that into perspective, 200,000 fame times 70 is 14 million fame in tomes that would be applied to all of my gear that I'm wearing, just for being faction flagged for things I am already doing. So when I see new players running around chopping trees, skinning animals, killing mobs, leveling up, and doing their day-to-day activities, fishing, etc., and they are not faction flagged, they are missing out on all of these rewards. So never, ever, ever do save zone content without having your faction flag up. Just don't. You lose too much for... It's absolutely worth it. There's no downsides. And again, you may be afraid of the PvP, but the thing is, if an enemy is faction flagged, their name will appear as red. All they can do is dink your gear. They can give you a 5% durability loss when you get down. Not a big deal. All right, the repair costs are worth the rewards, for one. But you're not stuck on the ground 90 seconds from a gank group bullying you in a save zone. And you have an entire team of faction people that will back you up. And what's cool is, like, say I'm in Redstone Plain, which is controlled by Martlock right now, and I'm out here killing mobs and farming and gathering. Well, suddenly I see this big orange circle on the map. That's a blob. That means there's a bunch of players congregating in one zone. And then I see that orange blob go over to this number 5 outpost, and then I hear outpost under attack. Because it's an orange blob, that means those are Bridgewatch flagged players, all right? And then I would go over and I would participate and help capture this outpost with these 20 to 100 other players, and then I would earn faction points. And then, suddenly on the map, a blue circle appears. A blue circle, and they start marching towards the orange circle. Well, now, I get to be in a PvP war, a Zerg versus Zerg, or ZVZ for short. And so, now, with whatever gear I may have equipped, I'm suddenly in a big team fight, you know, that's really fun and interesting, and I might get to down some people. There's no risk, yeah, maybe someone blows me up, or I'm attacking someone and they have a healer and I don't get to kill them. But as long as I participate in that fight, even if I don't kill anyone, if my team, my Bridgewatch bros, if they end up killing or downing the other team, I get rewards for it. And let's say 30 minutes later that, like, let's say our army died. The big orange blob got overwhelmed and everyone got downed and sent away. Well, that blue blob, we still counted as fighting them. So the game recognizes that and gives you points anyway. But also, let's say that blue blob eventually marches to the gates of Bridgewatch. They are right here in the front door, and they're just beating everyone up. Eventually, the orange blob grows and grows and grows bigger and bigger, and they eventually overwhelm the blue guys, and they have to run away. Well, even though I'm not in that fight anymore, even though I wasn't there for the fight, just because I attacked those players 30 minutes ago, the game recognizes that, and it's like, oh, hey, that guy you hit with an arrow, a stray arrow 30 minutes ago, he died. Here's some points. And so you get assist points. And it adds up to so many points and rewards. It's insane. All right? So you should always faction flag up in safe zones. Now, when you're in a PvP zone, being faction flagged out here in red zones can be more risky, though the rewards are pretty good. So I still advocate you do it, even if you're solo or not. It's just nice to have. Number 7 is not using your focus. Focus, you get 10,000 of it per day when you have premium active, and this includes the 3 days of premium, the 7 days of premium, or the 30 days. It doesn't matter. Any amount of days of premium will generate 10,000 focus a day. If you push the I button to open your inventory, there is a little arrow that expands your inventory here with a stats page, and on that page you can see your focus. Right now, my character, my Soulbingy character, has 10,939 focus. So, what is focus? What does it do? And you do not get this without premium unless you earn these little focus potions, restoration potions for doing journal quests, or rewards from your activities here. Like when you open these chests, they can have focus potions. 25% chance, by the way. Anyway, so what happens is this focus amount does not go up infinitely. It caps out at 30,000, which means after 3 days of not spending any of your focus, you are losing focus. And what does focus do again? It is for anything in the game that you craft. You can do what's called focus crafting instead, and that will give you a higher return rate on items. So, for instance, let's just pick a random item here. Let's pick this armor. This Phase Scale robe takes 16 of these fine cloth and an artifact item. The artifact item you will not get back with focus crafting, but if I was to just craft this armor, I would maybe get 2 to 3 or 4 of these cloth back, depending on how many city bonuses I use and whatnot. But if I focus craft it, I can get almost half of these materials back, all right? So I would be getting back 8 of these hold on, I clicked too many times in. I would get 8 of these cloth back worth 9,000 each. Well, 9,615 times 8 is 76,000 silver that I would be technically losing out on if I just let my focus sit at 30,000 and never spend it. So you want, when you have premium active, you want to pick something, anything that you can spend focus on. And I tell a lot of new players, even if it's not the most efficient thing, you should still do it, all right? Because doing anything is better than doing nothing. And so if you can't decide on something to craft, just grow a plant. Because whenever you water a crop, and I'll show you this, whenever you water a crop, even if it's carrots, you always get the seed back. So for instance, carrot seeds are at 0%. If I plant carrots, I can grow carrots and then the seed is gone. However, I have this daily watering bonus, so you get 200% seed yield. So that means I would get 2 seeds back. Or something like that, right? Or let's pick something else, like wheat seeds, all right? So if I plant wheat, I have a 60% chance to get the seed back. But if I water it, I get a plus 80%. Because it's over 100, that means I always get the seed back. And then I would have a 40% chance to get 2 seeds. So I would always make money, and I would have infinite wheat as long as I am spending focus on watering it. And yeah, if I was to plant some wheat or something and water it without specialization, it would cost a lot of focus, whereas when you have it maxed out, it costs very little. And that's part of the grind. That's the MMORPG grind, all right? And you have to do the math to see if things are even worth focus crafting. For instance, as a new player, I was a bow crafter. And, you know, back then it was somewhat profitable to just craft regular bows and war bows. And then at some point it wasn't. Even if I used focus and I used the city bonus and I gathered all my own material, I was still losing money when I should just be selling the raw material instead, because bows bottomed out on the market. So in that case, you would not want to use your focus to craft something that still costs you money in the end. But things like crops are always a safe investment. They will not ever cost you money using your focus. However, for instance, this character here, the Swolbingy character, he is a maximum level burdock and comfrey grower. All right, this means that I can plant seeds and water them with the lowest amount of focus cost possible in the game. And if I do so with premium active, this will make me 500,000 silver per day, which is, the math on that is 500,000 silver per 10,000 focus. However, the Swolbingy character later on became a complete full master potion crafter, all potions maxed out. And so instead, I can take 10,000 focus, and if I craft a specific potion, I can make 4.6 to 7 million silver a day, which means I should never use my focus to grow crops ever again. All right? And what that means is that by doing the math and having high-level crafting, my focus goes into potions instead, making me lots of silver, and essentially paying for the cost of premium if I wanted to. But I'm a veteran player, I'm rich, I have everything, I don't need the bonuses that premium gives, and so I don't really bother, because I don't play the game enough to make use of it. But as a new player, you need to use your focus on crafting literally anything. There are things in the game that you don't have to have islands or crafting stations, really. You don't have to own them to craft. There are things that don't even need mastery or things on the Destiny board to craft. Like, you can craft, like, see these chests in this house? This is a tier 5 chest. You, as a new player, if you can afford the materials, you can craft a tier 8 chest. You don't need any kind of leveling. You don't need any experience points to do it. You can focus craft a tier 8 chest and sell that chest, and because you're getting the bonus resources back, you might or might not make a profit off of it. So it's definitely something you should look into. And again, I'm looking at all, like right now, there's a Twitch event called The Crucible, and all of these big Twitch streamers are playing it, and I'm just watching, you know, from the shadows, just observing. Not a single one of them has spent their focus. I know that these guys can card swipe all they want. They're super wealthy. They make 6 figures a month, whatever. But you and me, we're poor, we're broke. We're playing a free-to-play game because that's all we can afford. And so, as a new player, you want to spend this focus so that you can earn more silver, so that you can have more fun, get more gear, and make more progress on your character. Number 8 is not using food or potions, and this one, you know, when I was a new player, this was literally me, because I'm that guy that plays like a Final Fantasy game or a JRPG like Persona, whatever. And by the end of the game, I'll have 99 mega elixirs and mega phoenix downs and all the buff items and all the best, you know, special crystals that protect your party and fully heal them. And I have never used a single one. But in Albion Online, that can hurt you big time. And let me explain. All right, so for instance, we went over the pork pie earlier in the video, how this gives you a 15% gathering yield. All right, so I want you to put that into perspective. So if we take 100 and divide it by 15, that means and we round up. Every 7 times we gather, this one pork pie will allow us to gather 1 extra time. I know that doesn't sound like a lot at first, but when you spend, because it's good for 30 minutes. When you spend 30 entire minutes gathering, you can earn a bunch. So this is a 4.3 node, all right? And so 36, that's about 1 gathering amount. This 1 node is worth 263,000 silver, okay? And so what is 36 subtracted by 15%? That's about 5. So how much would we lose out? All right, so that'd be 5. All right, that's 36,513 silver that we would not have if we had not eaten a pork pie. Well, how much is a pork pie? It's only 4,000 silver. So in that regard, that would still put us at 32,000 silver up. All right, I want you to understand this. I would have, if I don't eat the pork pie, I would have lost 32,000 silver every single time I gather one of these nodes. Every single time. That's how much silver I am technically losing out on. All right. So food, very important. If you are mob grinding and your character's getting beat up and you're low HP, and it takes you about 1 minute of real life time for your character's health to naturally regenerate to full before you pull the next mob, that sucks. That's a whole minute of downtime between mob pulls. Or you eat a food called the cabbage soup, and this increases your health regeneration by 270%. So now, instead of waiting 1 whole minute for your HP to regenerate, you're waiting like 6 seconds. Okay? And then you go pull the next mob, you instantly heal up. And here's the thing, if you're in a full loot zone, and you pull a bunch of mobs and you kill them, and you're low HP, someone can ride up and finish you off and then take all your stuff. But if you have full HP, then you have a fighting chance to kill them instead. All right? And at the same time, you have like a beef stew. This gives you increased damage by 15%. Again, another 15% item. So essentially, every time I hit someone 7 times, I get an extra free hit on them, okay? So if I have a spell that deals 2,000 damage, well, over the course of a long fight, I guess with healers or something, every fireball that I shoot, every 7 fireballs, I get 1 free. Think of it like that, okay? And potions, all right? Potions don't last 30 minutes. They're a one-time use item. This can heal you. You can regenerate energy. You can go invisible. Having invisibility potions, like these things, yeah, they can be a little expensive, okay? Like 1 invisibility potion costs around 13 to 14,000 silver. Sure. However, if your gear set is worth 1 million silver, and the difference of you losing and dying a fight or going invisible and escaping is 14,000 silver, then that's absolutely worth it. So you gotta learn to learn to use and appreciate potions. You don't have to go overkill with the best potions in the game because, you know, mathematically it may not be worth it. For example, I have these are 8.3 major gathering potions. Well, one of these potions is worth 160,000 silver, okay? And this will increase our gathering yield by 40%. All right? So if I spend 160,000 silver to get 40% of that 1 node earlier, then I'm not making my money back. I would be losing money. So in this case, using the best possible potion would not be viable in that example. However, if instead of gathering 4.3 fiber, it was 8.4 fiber, and you aren't using the best potion in the game, then your guild is going to kick you out and kill you and take all your stuff because you just wasted the node when you could have printed literal money for drinking a potion. But if you're at that stage in the game, then you're already eating and drinking the food. So again, this is for new players. Next up is not using islands. Now, as a brand new player, you won't have access to this unless you card swipe. But as someone who's been playing for at least 1 to 2 weeks or even a month, you should at some point have a personal island, which would look like this. If you have premium active either 7 days or 1 month, and I did not go to my island, I went to the town. But it'll look something like this. You can build, farmland on. I have gardens. You can build houses with laborers. We talked about laborers earlier. But even if you don't have premium, you can still make an alt character, push G, create a guild. You can, it does cost, all this costs silver, of course. But when you make a guild island, you can build guild halls on it and houses for laborers. And a lot of people are going to tell you that islands and laborers are not worth it. That's bull honky. They are eventually worth it. Yes, it is a big upfront cost, and it will take a few months to make the silver back that you spent on it. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It really depends on what you do. I have entire videos dedicated to this subject. But essentially, if you're a player that's been playing for more than a few weeks and you aren't starting to use islands, then it means that you don't care about your future. You don't care about generating passive income. What do I mean by passive income? Let me show you an example. I have this Tier 8 Elders Guild Hall and these Tier 8 Mercenary Journals. So each journal that I give to a laborer will give me just flat silver. 6,500 to 13,168. The law of averages make this 9.3 thousand or something, right? And I know my watermark is kind of in the way. There you go. But essentially, you multiply this by 15 and you round up a few thousand silver. This guild hall generates 150,000 silver a day for free. And you may be thinking, well, it's not free. You have to use these journals. Okay, so I can fill these journals in about 3 minutes. That's how long it takes to... So in 3 minutes of mob grinding, I make 150,000 silver. And I could do this an infinite amount of times as long as I have these guild halls or houses with laborers in them. You can scale this endlessly for as long as you play. I personally have 100 alt characters, each with their own island, alright? Which I can just dump these journals into and just make a massive, massive amount of profit. Alright? And I could grow crops if there's ever a market fluctuation. There was recently, I don't even have premium, and there was a market flux about crenellated burdock, okay? So crenellated burdock right now, I can literally plant and grow this without premium and still make a pretty hefty profit. So I did. So there's, a stack. Oh, that's earthworms. I had a mail with 999, but again, this is literally free silver. If you aren't using islands, you are being misled by the Reddit idiots who are just mad that they didn't invest early on. And a lot of people, they think short term. I want you to understand, a lot of people that play this game have a very low IQ because they are not eating enough calories to saturate their brains, okay? And those players do not think ahead for the future. They cannot do math. They cannot do basic reasoning or research. And so when they see someone that has lots of silver with islands, it makes them mad, and they will tell every new player on a forum board or a subreddit that islands are bad, and islands are not worth it, and islands should be avoided, and new players should not use islands. This is the furthest thing from the truth. Here's the thing. Imagine, okay, if you ask every rich person in the real world that if they could go back to being a teenager again, what would they do with their money? They all would tell you to invest it. Every single person. Maybe your mom, your dad, your uncle, your grandfather. I don't care. You ask any old person in the real world, what would they have done different with their money early on? None of them are going to say, well, I would just go buy a bunch of beers and get some new clothes and buy a new car. That's what players are currently doing when they play Albion. They go buy an expensive mount and some fancy gear, and then they go out in the black zone and they die and lose it all. Okay? That's what they do. They had their fun, and then they get mad at anyone else who does otherwise. But as a new player, if you're smart and you plan to play a long time, you build the islands, you buy the guild islands, you get the laborers, you get the furniture, you get it all set up all nice and pretty, and then 1 year later, suddenly you're a multi-millionaire while they're still broke a year later. I read some Reddit threads where there was a new player who had followed my guides, and he showed off how much he made, and he was he's sitting about 30 to 40 million for his first month, which is, it's not the best, but it's not bad. And there were players that were commenting, I've been playing for years, and I only have 10 to 15 million silver. What the hell? How do you have so much as a new player? It blew their freaking mind. And the guy told him, well, he invested in islands, and he gathered, and he had his gathering set, and he did safe zone content. Everyone was like, nuh-uh, you're lying. The proof is on the freaking screen of how much money these islands generate and make. And yes, they do cost money to build and construct, but once you have it, you're done. I built these islands and got all of these trophies and things for my islands 4 years ago because I wasn't doing anything with the money. And now, all of these items that have been sitting in this chest unused, like these bonsai trees and these marble fragments and stuff, they're worth more money than when I bought them. The materials used to make this guild hall are worth more money than when I bought them. These trophies, especially these explorer ones, are worth more money than when I bought them. Same with the beds, same with the tables, same with the laborers, okay? And the amount of money that this one building has generated has already paid for itself multiple times over in the past 4 years. So, islands, absolutely worth using. Start using them as soon as you are comfortable and you have extra spending cash. Number 10, you should absolutely be careful with chat in this game. This company is an insanely left-leaning, very liberal, very anti-freedom of speech, and just using a preschool insult or just upsetting someone will have you muted, and if you're muted, it makes it really hard to coordinate with other players or talk to them or, you know, like team up in the mists to gank the 8.4 guy. There's a whole lot of things that you should just really avoid. Like, I wouldn't even use the chat. If it's not going to make you silver or friends, you should just really avoid it. And I understand, like, a lot of people, the way they play the chat game is they bait you into a political argument, and then a Janny, which is short for janitor, which is a game master or a moderator, shows up and tells you to cut the crap, and then the person baiting you into the argument is actually a longtime supporter and donator of the game since it was on Kickstarter, and all the moderators and game masters are in on it with this person, and they just do it to mute you, and it's the only kind of excitement that these dudes get in their entire lives. Hell, a lot of them, they do it for free. That's the mod. Jannies do it for free, okay? And so, you don't want to be caught up in that, because it's going to make it really hard to do group stuff, or coordinate anything in a faction fight, or the mist. So just be careful with chat. Like, I got muted for 2 weeks once because I called someone a hot dog. Like, I was like, well, hot dog, you know, or like, oh, you're a hot dog. Because I heard, like, Gordon Ramsay say it on a video. He was like, oh, you hot dog. That's not his accent. I don't know how to do his accents. But you get the idea. I called someone a hot dog in chat. 2-week mute. I'm not joking. It's a real thing, okay? So, I could have... It's so ridiculous. Just avoid chat. Just avoid it. Number 11 is you should not use a satchel or auto respec till your economy is on lock. As in, once you have your economy game figured out and you have lots and lots of spending silver, don't use these items. I see every freaking day on the Albion forums, and even in my own comment sections, there are people panicking. They're like, I had 10 million silver, and I logged in today, and I did some playing, and now I only have 2 million silver. What happened to my silver? It disappeared. Help me. And what happened is when they opened the Destiny board, they had this thing that says auto respec checked. So you see this yellow button? That means it's activated. So if I deactivate it, no check mark. So if I activate it, there we go. What does this do? This is going to, when you have when you have level 100 mastery or level 100 specialization, anytime that you kill a mob, instead of getting fame, you will get what's called combat fame credits, which costs you silver with the auto respec. Now, if you have it turned off, you still get them, but only at a rate of 20%, which is pretty slow. And yeah, but a satchel of insight, I will show you mine. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Here we go. Satchel of Insight. So, what this does, this increases the amount of fame that I gain by 108%. However, each extra point of fame that I gain costs me 1.29 silver. So that means if I earned 10,000 fame, well, I'm going to earn double. I'm going to earn 108% of that. So that would be 10,000 and 10,800 or something, or 10,080 silver. For every mob that I kill, I'm losing 10,000 silver. But with auto respec, it's even more. And essentially, I don't know the exact amount, but it's a whole lot of silver. Okay, it's essentially when I go fame farming, I can burn through 5 to 10 million silver in the course of 2 hours when I have the satchel and auto respec on. Now, it does give me a lot of combat fame credits that I can use to level up my weapons and armor, and I'm okay with it because I'm a very rich and established and veteran player. But if you're a new player and you're using these items to level up faster, you will be broke, and you will not be able to afford other things like guild islands and gear upgrades and better gathering sets and so on and so forth. So until you have a really solid economy and a solid way of making silver, you should avoid doing these things. But you should work towards being able to do them so that you can advance your character much more quickly than anyone who chooses not to use these. Alright, so you need to learn to compound your activities and earnings as a new player. And what does that mean? That means that instead of trying to do everything at once, you should hyper-focus on one thing and make sure you're doing it as efficient as possible so that you will not waste your time. For instance, there are people that will go out and they will do legacy content that is no longer worth doing. Like, they'll go to a tier 5 yellow zone and they will do solo dungeons. Well, while you technically earn gear and loot from a solo dungeon, and you technically earn fame from a solo dungeon, you don't earn nearly as much as just doing one or the other. If you want to make money, you go gather, and you'll make massive amounts of silver over doing dungeons. And if you want to fame farm, you would technically go to the depths, which can also make you silver if you're experienced. But if you don't want to do depths, you would do open world mob farming. So farming mobs in a tier 5 yellow zone, absolutely fine activity if you want to do that. You will earn significantly, massively more fame per hour killing the mobs in a tier 5 yellow zone than you would doing the dungeons. And like I said, oh, but I'm making silver while I do it. You're making such a low amount of silver and such a low amount of fame that if you farmed dungeons for 2 hours, you will have made less fame and less silver than if you spent 1 hour fame farming and 1 hour gathering. But also, while you're doing that, like another thing too is I see people fame farming with gathering gear on. When you have gathering gear, your gathering gear does not level up from killing mobs. And so you're not getting as much fame as you normally would, so you really don't want to be splitting your activities. But also, if you are going to do lots of mob grinding and you have islands, you might as well fill mercenary laborer journals to get additional silver while you are killing mobs. So, like, this is 577 filled tier 4 mercenary journals. If I go to a tier 4 zone and kill open world mobs, I can fill all of these up in like 10 to 15 minutes. And then I can turn them in for about 3,000 to 4,000 silver each. So 4,000 times 576, that's 2.3 million silver. Now, I would need 576 laborers on islands, which I actually do have. But, you know, that's something to build up for. And again, if you can gather for 1 hour and fill this many journals and you're willing to do that, then you should have that many laborers willing to take those journals. So that's, again, something to work towards. Now, another thing about compounding is that, you know, when gathering, and we spoke about this earlier, you want to make sure that you're gathering as efficiently as possible in the most efficient zones and all of that stuff with the right gear. So that's what I mean by compounding your activities and your earnings. Earnings being silver, earnings being fame farming, earnings being, you know, leveling up your crafting or whatever. For crafting, you have to do a mountain of math homework to figure out what you need to craft as cheap as possible to earn you the most fame. Because if you just go and craft the most expensive, hardest to make thing, you'll get a lot of fame for it. But it might cost you so much more that you could get the same result by crafting something worse multiple times over. And also, you might not want to be crafting at a loss. You might want to craft at a profit, in which case you would have to do the math and figure that stuff out. I'm not your tutor in that regard. I'm not going to do the math homework for you. And so, yeah, asking me, hey, is this profitable or should I do this? I don't know what server you're on. I don't know what the economy is like without getting on and checking. And if it's math that I can't do in like a minute or two, I'm not going to do it for you. You're going to have to learn to do the math yourself, all right? But I can tell you from my experience, you know, optimal fame farms, optimal silver farms, how much you can expect to make doing those things, a realistic number without satchel, without premium, and so on. But I have videos covering all of that stuff. But for specific crafting profit things, you're going to have to make a spreadsheet to figure that out yourself, or do, like I said, a lot of math. But an example of compounding, say, fame earnings, if I want to go into a safe zone and kill open world mobs to level up my gear, I would be, like I said at the start of the video, I'd be wearing full cloth, and in order to make more money doing this, I would have the mercenary journals being filled up. I would also be faction flagged so that I earn more fame, and I would buy premium on the months or the holidays where there is what's called a fame week, where you get additional fame bonuses. And doing all of this, also, you can open up this menu here. Let me show you by moving the text. You can open up this menu, go to activities, and sometimes there are bonus fame days for certain activities. Like right now, 10% fame in the Roads of Avalon. All right? And then also for crafting, we have 10% tool, 10% leather helmet. You want to make sure that you are compounding all of these each and every day so that you are making the most out of your time and out-farming everyone else for whatever reason. And I'm not going to give this one a number, but essentially you really should do your research and look up guides and watch videos and do some homework to determine what is worth doing and what is not doing. For example, I have done almost all of the work for you in this entire game. That is what this channel is nearly dedicated to being, even though I am technically a variety YouTuber. This video, which was uploaded 2 hours ago, look at that. Albion Online, updated silver per hour rates on solo content. So if you want to know what you should and should not be doing to make silver as a new player, this video is for you. All you got to do, you click my channel name right here. It's going to take you to my channel page, and then you would just type, but we're going to pause that video. We're going to just type Albion Online silver per hour. All right. So I use the search function. There's the video. And then again, I have, there's so many different things. You can literally type Albion Online or just Albion, and you can type Albion Island. So now here's a bunch of guides on how to do islands and laborers, how to grow horses for profit, and all that kind of stuff. Well, what about, you know, anything you can think of? A fame farm. We have Albion Fame Farm. There we go. 2025 best fame farm. Best fame farm for solos. This was 7 days ago, so it's updated. Everything's updated for you guys. All right. There you go. Again, just search the channel for anything you may need. But for the absolute best of the best info that you can possibly get, that you can't get anywhere else, you scroll right down below video. There is a join button. And yes, my videos are, there's no shilling, there's no VPN crap like that. You click the join button. All right, it's $4.99 a month. This money it goes through YouTube, not through any weird third-party garbage. And that gets you access to members-only videos. And those videos are too good for the public. And yes, so these videos will teach you all the best ways of making silver, fame farming, all of the best kept secrets of the game. All right. And you can go through my comment section. You'll see people with like a little circle star icon. Those are channel members. They will vouch. They will vouch that, you know, the info is absolutely worth it. And the thing is, if I release videos, I got to change the thumbnail on that one. There's some numbers on there, but essentially, the info here is so good that if it became public knowledge, it would mess up the markets, or everyone would do it, and then no one can do it. So those are the things that I have to keep safeguarded, not only to protect the integrity of the game. And again, there's no cheats, no exploits, no improper use of game mechanics, okay? SBI forces me to tell you that. There is none of that in the members' vids. There is only good, wholesome, fully knowledge fleshed out, you know, ways to make you rich and play as efficiently as possible. That if everyone did it, then no one could do it. That's essentially all it is, all right? And I kind of rely on that to be able to pay bills. Without channel members, my YouTube channel would not exist, so thank you, channel members. Anyway, that is all of the things that, all of the mistakes that new players do that they should stop doing, and all the traps that they fall into. And there's a few more. There's things like, you know, they fall for dual scams, you know, and stuff like that. But it's, you know, I could go on forever about all the ways that players get scammed. That would be like a separate video, maybe, kind of, sort of, especially recently, due to the mass amount of really big Twitch streamers entering the space and third-party companies paying YouTube shills to make content for the game. I am not one of them. I am not offered by any company to make content for any game. I mean, I get offered, but I never take the offer. I don't get Albion offers at all. Absolutely not. I do it for free. But essentially, and when I say I do it for free, I get YouTube ad revenue. It's not enough to pay the bills. The channel members are the ones paying the bills here. But essentially, what I'm trying to say, there is a lot of just random channels that don't even play this game that are just paying production companies, editors, and stock footage to make guides, and they are completely talking out of their ass. I watched a guide that said one of the best ways to make money in this game was to play Arena. Okay? If you hypothetically, and I've rented this on 3 videos, if you hypothetically played as a healer in Arena and won every single match in 5 minutes, and you had alt characters also doing the Arena and winning in 5 minutes, you would make less than 500,000 silver an hour. It is not a good way to make silver, and these corporate shilled, overly edited, copy-paste TikTok guides telling you these facts are absolute horse crap, and should not be listened to. Hopefully you can tell by the conviction of my voice that I'm not some corporate shill entity, wagey, you know, making this video because some boss man is making me do it. I'm a gamer like you. I'm just a guy that picked up this game and decided I'm going to play this game for a while and learn everything there is to learn about it, and so that I don't forget in the future, I'm going to make videos. And that's the whole reason that I'm making videos for guides for games, is so that 10 years later I can go watch my old videos and be like, oh, that's how to play that game. Anyway, that's the video. It's long enough. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what other things new players should look out for, and I'll see you in the comment section. I read every comment. Kiss on your forehead. Mwah. And you got 2 kisses today. I don't know why I was so generous, but click the video. Click the video on the right side of your screen, and if you do, this is an extra special bonus. You will be blessed with the luck of fast food. Now, what does that mean? By clicking the video on the right side of your screen, the next time that you go through a drive-thru at a fast food place that normally takes like 8 to 10 minutes to make your food, and there's a long line, there's going to be almost no line, and they're going to get your food out in like 1 to 2 minutes, bro. Trust me on this. It's not superstition. It's a literal curse blessing mechanic with YouTube and me. So by clicking that video, you now get that benefit, okay? Just do it. Just do it.